There comes a moment in life when silence speaks louder than action, when stepping back feels stronger than pushing forward, and when disappearing from the noise brings you closer to your truth. In today's world, being constantly available is praised, always reachable, always saying yes, always responding. But in the ancient wisdom of Shaolin and Taoist philosophy, there is a hidden power, the power of withdrawal. This is not weakness, this is not escape, this is mastery. In this video, I will guide you through the principle of Wu Wei, a concept that lies at the heart of Taoist and Shaolin teachings. It means non-doing, but not in the way most people think. It is the art of effortless action, the deep understanding that nature flows best when we stop forcing things. You will learn why some of the most powerful Shaolin masters spend years in silence and retreat. You will hear how the mind becomes sharper when it is no longer crowded by urgency. And you will discover why your energy, once guarded, becomes a force that shapes reality itself. We will explore teachings rarely spoken of, practices passed down quietly, not to entertain, but to transform. If you have ever felt drained, scattered, or like your energy is being taken in too many directions, stay with me, because what you learn here will challenge how you live and how you serve your own spirit. This path is not loud, but it is strong. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. I am Shi Heng Yi. Subscribe now and begin the journey back to yourself. There is a quiet cost to being constantly reachable, and most people never notice they are paying it. Every sound, every message, every demand for your attention, it pulls a thread from your mind. Slowly, silently, your focus unravels. The Shaolin monks do not seek solitude for comfort. They seek it for clarity. In silence, in stillness, the mind becomes whole again. Without constant interruption, thoughts settle like clear water. Only then can you truly see. In today's world, availability is confused with kindness. We feel guilt when we do not answer, pressure when we don't respond. But the truth is, when you are always open to others, you close the door to yourself. Your energy leaks. Your mind scatters. And soon you forget what it feels like to be centered. Even a blade, left unattended, grows dull. A sharp mind must be protected, not from others, but from excess. Constant interaction is a form of noise. It may seem harmless, but over time, it takes your presence, your peace, your power. A Shaolin master does not shut the world out forever, but he chooses when to open the gate. He understands that not every call must be answered, not every request must be met. Mastery begins when you stop reacting and start choosing. To train the mind, we must sometimes disappear, not from duty but from distraction. We must create space, not just to think, but to not think, to breathe, to be. Only then does the mind return to its natural rhythm, like water finding its stillness after the storm. Every day begins with a quiet transaction, not of money, but of energy. From the moment you wake, you begin to spend, with every thought, every choice, every moment of attention, something is withdrawn from within you. The ancient masters understood this deeply. In Shaolin tradition, energy is not just movement or power, it is life essence, sacred, finite, meant to be guarded and directed with intention. When you say yes without presence, without clarity, you offer your essence to something that may not serve your part. One careless agreement, one distracted hour, and the mind grows tired, the body becomes restless, the spirit loses its shine. This is why the discipline path demands awareness, not just of what you are doing, but why you are doing it. To the master, every act is an investment, every gesture a decision. If you are always available to the meaningless, the meaningful will never have your full power. We don't always notice where the energy leaks begin. Small favors, scattered attention, digital noise, conversations that go nowhere. But like a vessel with many tiny holes, the spirit slowly empties. To reverse this, you don't need to become hard or distant, you need to become clear. Like still water, like a flame that doesn't flicker in the wind. When you stop giving energy to what drains you, something beautiful begins. Your focus deepens, your intuition sharpens, your presence becomes magnetic. And this is not selfishness, it is alignment, it is self-respect, it is the way of one who walks with purpose. In every breath, ask not just, what am I doing? But is this worthy of my energy? This is how you begin to live as a master, not a servant. True silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of depth. In the Shaolin tradition, silence is not a punishment, it is a sacred practice, a returning, a way to clear the fog that constant speaking, reacting, and explaining creates. The monks do not keep silent merely with their mouths. They quiet the inner noise, the restless thoughts, the unnecessary emotions, the need to reply, to prove, to defend. This is the deeper silence, the one that reveals. In this silence, something powerful begins to happen. The mind, no longer pushed or pulled, begins to settle. Like still water, it reflects clearly. Thoughts lose their urgency. Emotions lose their sharp edges. And from this calm insight arises. Most people fear silence because it confronts them with themselves. Without distractions, you begin to hear what you've been avoiding. But this is where the real work begins. In the stillness, truth surfaces. Not just ideas, but understanding. The modern world encourages constant noise, opinions, alerts, arguments, all fighting for your attention. But in ancient wisdom, silence is strength. It is how warriors preserve energy, how seekers find the path, how leaders listen before they act. To be silent is not to be passive. It is to be precise. It is to wait until what you speak is necessary, grounded, and real. Silence teaches restraint. It deepens presence. It strengthens will, and it brings you closer to what is eternal. The mind cannot hear the soul when it is always talking, but in silence, the soul speaks. And when it does, it says only what is needed, just enough, just true, just still. There is a quiet difference between doing and being. Modern life blurs this line. It pushes us into performance, a constant display of effort, value, and identity. Always proving something, always trying to be seen. But the Shaolin way does not ask for applause, it asks for presence. To do one thing fully, completely, with your whole spirit, this is the mark of inner mastery. A monk sweeping the floor is not trying to impress. He is not thinking about who is watching. He is simply sweeping, breathing, moving with full attention. And because of that, the act becomes sacred. Presence is not passive, it is powerful. It roots you in this moment, this breath, this task. It takes you out of the endless cycle of comparison, out of the trap of chasing worth through achievement. When you stop performing, something unexpected happens. Your energy becomes more real. People feel it. You speak less, but your words carry weight. You do less, but what you do matters more. The world celebrates noise, speed, and visibility, but the ancient path honors quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need to be noticed to be true. A warrior does not perform. He moves with precision, focus, and peace. He is not trying to be something. He is what he has become through practice. Return to this simplicity. Let go of the need to be impressive. Instead, be present. Because when the mask falls away, the effort to please fades, and the noise of expectation quiets, your true self begins to rise. Not in performance, but in still, grounded presence. A boundary is not a wall, it is a gate. A conscious choice of what you allow in and what you keep out. Not to isolate yourself, but to protect what is sacred within you. In Shaolin tradition, the temple is open to the sincere, but closed to distraction. The monks are not harsh, they are kind, but their kindness is not weakness. It is guided by discipline and deep inner clarity. They do not make themselves available to every passing desire, every chaotic voice, every energy that pulls them from the path. This is not ego, it is wisdom. True mindfulness requires that you know your limits and honor them. To give freely does not mean to give endlessly. Even the strongest fire fades if it is never shielded from the wind. When you say no to disrespect, to manipulation, to noise, you say yes to self-respect. You choose stillness over conflict, purpose over approval. And with time, others feel this. Your presence becomes more solid, your silence more meaningful, not because you withdraw in fear, but because you stand in clarity. The master does not shout his boundaries, he lives them. His focus is his answer, his time a mirror, his life a reflection of what he allows. Setting boundaries is not a rejection of the world, it is a devotion to your path. To walk this path, you must decide. Will you be pulled in every direction, or will you move with intention? Every boundary you honor becomes a gate, one that leads you deeper into mastery, not over others, but over your own mind, your own time, your own sacred energy. There is a kind of strength that only grows in solitude. It does not come from praise, from noise, or from constant connection. It rises quietly when you are alone with your breath, your thoughts, your truth. In the Shaolin tradition, Solitude is not seen as loneliness. It is a sacred space, a forge for the spirit. Within the silence of the temple walls, the monk meets himself, not through words, but through stillness, not through others, but through discipline. Away from distraction, the senses sharpen, the mind begins to clear, awareness deepens, and what was once buried under noise begins to rise. In solitude, the outer world softens, and the inner world speaks. You begin to hear the quiet signals of intuition, the voice of wisdom that's always been there, but often drowned out by company, conversation, and concern. We often seek others not out of connection, but out of escape from boredom, from uncertainty, from ourselves. But when you stop being available for constant company, you create room for your spirit to unfold. This is not withdrawal from life, it is a return to your center. The master knows that the deeper you go within, the more rooted you become in the world. Solitude teaches you how to stand without needing support, how to walk your path with focus, how to find peace without external permission. The strongest trees grow in still forests, and the clearest minds are shaped in quiet places. Honor your time alone. Use it not to hide, but to build, not to drift, but to sharpen. Because in that stillness, the spirit begins to grow, and what it becomes cannot be shaken. There is a quiet kind of courage in saying no. Not the sharp no of anger or pride, but the steady, grounded no that comes from clarity, from knowing who you are and who you are not. In the Shaolin tradition, discernment is a form of wisdom. Not every invitation is a path. Not every challenge is a test you need to take. The monks are trained to see what is essential and to let go of the rest without conflict. This is the art of the sacred no. Each time you say no to what distracts, drains, or distorts you, you say yes to something deeper, to silence, to study, to practice, to presence. Without this boundary, the mind scatters. You begin to chase too many things, trying to be everything for everyone, and in the process, forgetting your own direction. But when you stop being available for everything, your purpose comes into focus. You no longer waste strength on battles that are not yours. You walk a straighter path with fewer steps and greater depth. The sacred no is not rejection, it is refinement. It's the voice of your inner master saying, "This does not serve the path, let it pass." This kind of discipline takes time. It requires awareness, not just of your schedule, but of your soul. It asks you to pause before agreeing and to listen before reacting. In a world that tells you to always say yes, to be open, responsive, and pleasing, this kind of restraint becomes rare and powerful. Say no, not to isolate yourself, but to align. Say no, not to shut the world out, but to honor your place within it. A clear no opens space for a deeper yes. Truth does not shout, it waits in stillness. In a world of endless motion, constant updates, and restless minds, it becomes easy to lose touch with what is real. We are flooded with noise, opinions, headlines, conversations that go in circles. The more we listen, the further we drift from the quiet knowing within. But in the Shaolin way, silence and stillness are more than practices, they are mirrors. When you stop moving, the dust settles, and when the dust settles, you begin to see clearly. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the space where life reveals its essence. When the body rests, the breath slows. When the breath slows, the mind opens. And from that openness, truth rises, not from thought but from awareness. You begin to notice what you've been ignoring. The small tensions, the misplaced attention, the way you've been pulled by things that don't truly matter. Drama feeds on movement, on reactivity, on attention that is freely given without question. But when you step back, when you become still, the drama fades. It loses its grip. Mindfulness teaches us to sit with this space, not to fill it, but to feel it, to witness what surfaces. Sometimes it is discomfort, sometimes it is peace, but always it is real. The ancient masters understood this. The deeper truths of life are not taught in words, but revealed in silence. Stop being available for the noise, not because you reject the world, but because you want to see it clearly. Truth is not found by adding more. It is uncovered by letting go, by returning to the center, by being still long enough to hear what's always been there. There is a quiet turning point on the path, a moment when you stop being moved and begin to move with purpose. Most lives are spent in reaction, chasing approval, pleasing others, giving beyond one's capacity, hoping it will lead to peace. But it never does. because peace is not earned through exhaustion. It is cultivated through clarity. In the Shaolin path, discipline is not just about effort, it is about intention. Every movement is chosen, every word is measured. The master does not act to be accepted. He acts because he is aligned. When you release the need to chase, to fix, to be everything for everyone, something powerful emerges. You step into your own center, and from that still point, you begin to move through life, not as a servant to circumstance, but as a guide to your own direction. This is personal mastery. It is not control over others. It is deep self-command, a steady presence that cannot be bought or shaken. To arrive here, you must begin with one simple truth. Not everything is yours to hold. Not every problem is yours to solve. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Pull your power back from where it has been scattered. Reclaim your time, your breath, your attention. Let go of proving. Let go of pleasing. Let go of the belief that love must be earned through self-sacrifice. Mastery does not mean hardness. It means presence. It means moving slowly, clearly, and without fear. No longer pushed by life's noise, but guided by inner silence. No longer a servant to the moment, but a master of the path. When you begin to withdraw from what drains you, you return to what strengthens you. Not by escaping the world, but by meeting it differently, with stillness, with purpose, with peace. The chaos around you may not stop. The demands may not disappear, but you are no longer pulled in every direction. You begin to move from your center. This is the quiet transformation that unfolds when you stop being constantly available to distraction, to pressure, to noise. You create space, and in that space, clarity grows. Your mind sharpens, your energy deepens, and your spirit begins to rise, steady and focused. This is not about withdrawing in fear. It is about living in alignment with your values, with your purpose, with your inner truth. Start small. Choose one moment today to say no. One moment to be still. One moment to listen, not to the world, but to yourself. Over time, these small choices become a way of life, and from that life, peace flows. Thank you for walking this path with us. If this message speaks to something deep within you, support our journey by liking this video and subscribing to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire. May your steps be grounded, your mind be clear, and your spirit always return to center.